to me about that luck until I had to become a luck specialist.
This is Hindsight Radio. I represent it. The information station changing the nation.
Hey, peace. All right. So I'm up. It's January the 2nd, 2023. 2 days into the month of June. So I was laying down and I was thinking, and I thought about our environment. We are a product of our environment, basically. What we surround ourselves, what we think about, what you see manifesting physically is a product of the situations you are in, voluntary or involuntary. You know, as a child, you're in that situation because those are your parents and they have an environment they're creating for you. And you become a product of that environment. So I was thinking how I used to live in Edenwald projects in the Bronx and how that affected my life being raised in, and how it affected the people that did live in that project. That was Edenwald is a project in New York, right? Let me show you. Now, reading this took me. It's funny how you start somewhere and then you end up somewhere else. On Wikipedia, Edenwald houses are a housing project in the Eastchester and Laconia neighborhoods of the Bronx, New York City, established on October 30th, 1953, 3 days after my birthday. I wasn't born in 53, but the day, October 30th, 3 days. I'm on the 27th. The project consists of 40 buildings, 3 and 14 stories tall, with 2,039 apartment units. It covers a 48.88 acre development. It's bordered by Grenada Place, East 25th Street, Baychester Avenue, Shefflin Avenue, and Laconia Avenues. It is owned and managed by New York City Housing Authority and is the largest development in the Bronx. Yeah, I lived on 1175 East 225th Street. That was a building that my grandmother lived in for a very long time. And she was a single mom, had a household in those apartments. And when she passed, my aunts took that apartment over. That cycle is broken. No one lives in those apartments anymore. But the apartments are still there. The projects are still there. I think they're doing some proposed renovations on it. I saw some plans. But what stood out to me, I read here, the Edenwald houses was built on the former Hebrew Orphanage Asylum. So I started off wanting to talk about product of the environment and how important it is to get yourself out of these bad environments and move into a new, better environment so that you can have a better chance of changing your circumstances. See, those types of neighborhoods are surrounded by a lot of depression, poverty, because it's a housing project. So most people that live in there are receiving some type of government assistance and generational government assistance, like it's been passed down. I know this. I lived there. I seen it. You know, people were getting pretty much the same thing. There was people that went to work there that lived in those projects. But overall, it's a depressing place to live. Let me tell you that firsthand. So, in short, you need to get out of your bad environment and get into a good environment of prosperity, environment of wanting to financially elevate yourself. So, if you're there, you need to work your way out, because if you're surrounded by all the same mentalities, the ghetto mentality, the get something for nothing mentalities, it's going to be very hard to overcome that. I watched it. I watched my aunts and uncle kind of go down to the same path and didn't do a whole lot with their lives. Why? Because the environment didn't challenge them to do anything better than what they were doing. See, when you get in an environment of prosperity, it's going to challenge you to do better. You're going to want to elevate. It's like, early on, I was not a great at putting things together, right? And I'm organizing my room and doing all that. But then I got with someone. I got with Beth, and she's very good at keeping it home. So that made me want to change. She never got on my case about it. Hey, you need to clean up. She wasn't like that. She never was. But just her actions made me want to do better. You see, when you get around people that's doing the things you want to do, you're going to do them. You're gonna elevate to that. But if you get around with people who is just continuously messy and just you're gonna just default to that, because why? That's how you started out. Now, I didn't come from a particularly messy home, just that I wasn't taught organization skills. So I had to learn that. I still am challenged by that to a degree, but I am a whole lot better at keeping my home organized. So, but what stood out was this: Edenwald House was built on the former Hebrew Orphanage Asylum. So I got curious. So this topic started off talking about moving out of the environment, and that's important, and get into a better one because you're a product of it. But it moved on took a whole new turn, and I can't avoid it. So let's look at this. I did a search of the Hebrew Orphanage Society. So let's share the screen. Here it is, Hebrew Orphanage Society, Bronx, New York. Do a search, and this is what popped up. This is what this building looked like before they tore down the project. I mean, tore this down and put the projects in. They went from these magnificent structures to those cheaply built apartments. That's what they went to. It's crazy, right? Like, look at this. Now, this Hebrew Orphanage Society must be all over the place, because they got one in Maryland. There's a bunch of them in New York. One in Brooklyn, Amsterdam. You see this? Then I'm just scrolling down. Then they had a colored orphanage society with some pictures here. Colored Orphanage Society. See, you just do a research on, start seeing stuff. Look at that. Colored Asylum, New York City. Did y'all know they had a colored society in New York City? Orphanage? I didn't know. All the times I look, colored asylum. Here it is again. Let's take a click at this picture here. And they got all different shades in here. And then you have people of color help them. This is the Colored Orphanage Asylum in Ephemeral, New York. Wow. Memphis Colored Orphanage Society. Then they have where they burn these places. And a lot of these places were burned down. And the reason why you had all of these orphan children, because they had fathers fought in the Civil War and they died. But this is quite a... Hey, what up? What up? Hey, peace, prosperity, and extreme wealth to all. Hope everybody's doing good on this Tuesday. Truth Tuesday. Man, a lot of stuff's been going on this week. Today I did a lot. I did a lot more than I usually do. I'm trying to really add to my routine and really realizing I can get a lot done if I structure my day properly. Like, so for instance, I got up this morning and I went and worked out. Went to Planet Fitness, worked out, really intense workout. And then from there, I came home, changed into my swimming trunks, and went swimming briefly. So I'm gonna do it early. It was like, I think it was like 7 o'clock in the morning. It was kind of cool. It was 60 something degrees. I said, man, it'd be a good time to jump in the pool in the neighborhood and take a swim. And I don't know if you've ever worked out intense workout and then going to swim. That's a lot, because swimming takes every muscle in your body. And then I haven't swam in a long time, like over a year, like actually got in the pool and really swam. I used to be able to lap the pools, but I couldn't even get one lap out. It was some old guys. These guys looked like they was in their 60s or maybe older. And it was showing me up. So I got out of that pool quick. I said, man, I am struggling to get down one lap. So I got to add that. So that means after I work out, or if I don't work out, go into the pool. I might not go do a workout tomorrow morning. What I'll do is just go straight to the pool and get some laps out. But what happened after I did all that, I felt like great. Like I felt alive doing that. And I realized that I need to keep doing it. Keep doing that. Keep pushing myself physically and also push myself mentally and spiritually. I have to push myself. Because we can get complacent. We can get lazy and find reasons not to do anything. And that's one of the big killers of dreams and goals that you're setting, because we get comfortable, turn on the TV and sit back and just lay there and let that TV hypnotize us until we fall asleep. Or we just sit there and watch it all day and be mesmerized by it. And it's killing our creativity. It's killing our spirituality when we allow ourselves to binge watch these programmings and not elevate our minds. So, of course, while I was working out, I was listening to Reverend Ike. That's what I do. I listen to Reverend Ike. And another thing that I do, and I suggest you do, I recorded my voice a long time ago saying the affirmations or the things that I want to happen in my life. I have it recorded and I put it on a loop. So I got back to doing that. So I started, I play that and then I loop it and I play it at night while I'm sleeping so it can lock into my consciousness. And I'm telling you, this really works. If you want your finances, you want your relationship to work, or you want anything to work, put it in the affirmation, record yourself. And there's no reason why you can't, because we got phones where you can record things. Save it as an MP3 into your phone and put it on the loop. And have your voice speak to you while you're sleeping. That's what I was doing over the last few nights, just playing these recordings over and over and over again. And I saw instantaneous changes in my finances. So here's the thing. When you see that, hey, you up here and then now you're down here, check what you've been doing. Check yourself. See what's going on. What rituals have you stopped? What rituals have you started? Because all that has a play on what is happening in your life right now. And when I really looked, I said, man, you burn incense every day. You did your frankincense, your myrrh. You did your what is that? The what's the one that's white? It's like on the tip of my tongue. Well, you smoke out the house, did all that. I kind of slipped away from that this year, pretty much. And I was like, what's going on? And then I had to remember, you're not doing what you normally do. You're not practicing your rituals. You're out of rhythm with your spirituality. So I started going back to those things. Like right now, I'm burning incense over here, burning the candle over there. Now I never got away from pouring my alcohol for my ancestors. This is one of these ancestors like this particular brand, because I poured some last week, a good bit of it was empty. This week. I mean, I poured a good bit of it, and usually it'll last. But I've been calling on certain ancestors specifically, and I think, hey, they like this. So I'll keep pouring it out to them. Let them have it. See, it's okay. I know that's witchcraft. Okay, call it what you want. I would say, I was reading the Bible today, and I had it circled the whole time. Oh, here it is. And there was some interesting things in there that y'all Christians ain't gonna wanna accept. Y'all not gonna want to accept some of this stuff, because there's some really interesting stuff going on in there that actually goes against, or well, at least no one teaches it, the things that they say in here. You'll see. Sometimes I randomly start reading stuff, but I had some real serious notations on this one written in this Bible. And here's one. Exodus 19. This is a little something to get, because this is something that people kind of call witchcraft, but this was specifically noted. And my camera's acting up again. Damn. It's kind of, don't like the focus on it. It said here, on the third new moon after the Israelites had gone out of the land of Egypt. Now, new moon is a very important thing in a lot of people when it comes to astrology. It's funny how they focused on that, how they focused on the new moon. I wonder why my camera wants to focus more on my mic than on me. That's why I like my other mic. I can make sure it's not doing that. So let's read. Yeah, I'm gonna read some stuff because it said some wild things. All right, this is what the Bible says. These are some of the commands that the Bible had for people, and I'm moving because I'm kind of off topic, but I'm just trying to show you something here. That if some of this stuff they were to do today, people would be in jail, right? But I'm talking about people who say that the stuff you try to do, your incense burning and all that, is witchcraft. It says here, these are the ordinances that you shall set before them. When you buy a male Hebrew slave, they're buying slaves, he shall serve 6 years, but in the 7th he shall go out a free person without debt. If he comes in single, he shall go out single. If he comes in married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master gives him a wife and she bears him a sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master, and he shall go out alone. But if the slave declares, I love my master, my wife and my children. I will not go out a free person. Then his master shall bring him before God, and he shall be brought to the door of the doorpost, and his master shall pierce his ear with an awl, and he shall serve him for life. This is in your Bible, okay? They got rules on having slaves. When individuals quarrel and one strikes the other with a stone or fist, so that the injured party, though not dead, is confined to bed but recovers and walks around outside with the help of a staff, then the assailant shall be free of liability, except to pay for the loss of time and to arrange for full recovery. Okay, that seems fair enough. When a slave owner strikes a male or female slave with a rod and his slave dies immediately, the owner shall be punished. But if the slave survive a day or two, there is no punishment, for the slave is the owners of the owner's property. This is rules on how you can beat up your slave, and if he survives, you're good. If you have a slave. Okay. Let's see what else. It said, whoever strikes father or mother shall be put to death. I don't have a problem with that one. I don't really have, but now this is something we don't follow. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is the Sabbath to the Lord your God. You shall not do any work. You, your sons, your daughter, your male or female slave, your livestock, and the alien residents in your towns. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea and all that is in them, but it rested the 7th day, and therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath. So what I'm saying is, a lot of people that claim that a lot of these other cults are evil, but then don't read the Bible and see all of the stuff that they condone. Slaves, you can sell your slave, you can do all of these things. I would say that's evil. Selling and buying people. If a slave has children, they're yours. If you're the master. And see, and this is what they use to enslave people around the world. This is what they used. This very book. But we know that this is a condensed down, revised version of the Bible. So a lot of the stuff is taken out of context. But that's the Bible that they're teaching in churches around the world in Christianity. These are some of the things that they pull from, but you never hear these parts of the scriptures read. You don't hear the parts where they're talking about drugs and taking drugs. You don't hear the parts about, you do hear about frankincense and myrrh and stuff like that. So I would say most Christians don't really practice these teachings fully. Then again, when this was written, there was no Christians. They weren't called Christians. So there you have it. So what's the topic? Quit your job. Quit your job. Now let me clear that up. I'm not saying go out there tomorrow and quit your job. I'm saying you should quit your job eventually. The reason why is because most of you don't like it. I was having a conversation with my homeboy today from New York. Known each other over 30-something years. 35 plus years. And we got to talking about, he was commending me on what I'm doing, how I just don't have a boss and all this stuff. And I took the risk and I did it. And I said to him, I know, you don't believe that it can be done. And he said, no, let me clear this up. I know you can do it, but I don't believe I can do it. And see, and that's the issue with most people. They believe other people have better power than they do. They don't see themselves as having the power to do things. And this is why a lot of people are working and doing things that they hate. He expressed to me that he hates working for anyone. He hates it. But the reason why he do it because he got a family and he got people relying on him. That's why he does it. And he was expressing himself, and I felt the urge to come in and try to counteract what he said, but some said, no, just let him talk. Because sometimes we make the mistake and we figure we can fix people's mindset by talking to them. It won't work like that. Because as he kept talking, and I just let him talk, he was fixing his own problem. What happened? What happened in that moment when I allowed him to talk, when I allowed him to express himself without interruption? First, he identified that he didn't like what he was doing. Then he identified why he was doing it. The only reason why he was doing it. This is the first time I've ever heard him give me that much clarity. But he identified that. Do you understand what happens when you identify what you don't like? Then you identify why you don't like it. What do you think is the next thing that comes after you do those two things? What's the next thing that comes after? Can someone tell me in the chat? What do you think came after that? After he identified that I don't like it, he admitted the truth. He spoke and said the truth about that. And then he admitted why he was doing it. The only reason why he was doing it, because he had responsibilities. He had societal norms locked up in his mind. You see? So he was living off a program that he allowed himself to be programmed with, that he needed a job in order to take care of his family. That's all what he did. At this point, because he feel like he's too old to start over, and the money he's got coming in is covering the bills, blah, blah, blah. These are all of the reasons that he gave. But can anybody in the chat tell me what you think what happened after he said those two things? I'm waiting. Come on now. Nobody want to comment in the chat. Let me see who's on the thing. I'll give y'all a minute to catch on. Are y'all listening? What y'all doing? Y'all cooking and stuff like that while y'all listening to me? Oh, the Telegram chat is open too, so. Nobody? I see Seeking Bay out there, Sharon and Maximoria out there. Somebody just type in the chat what y'all think. I'm gonna get it. I just don't want to be the only one giving out these answers. Just look at yourself. When you had those awakenings. So Holly's Clemens says this. His words of truth set him free from the inside out. The universe opened up and produced his desires and intentions. 50. That's halfway there. Here's what happened. Once he identified what he was doing and why he was doing it, and the truth came. Then he started talking about, I cook, but being a chef right now and doing all that, changing to that field, they don't make any money and this and that. He was starting to rationalize and reason with his higher self that there may be a possibility of him doing something else. But then he came up with the money was the issue. So his whole thing was money. Then I said to him, you don't have to go into being a chef. Just start making some videos showing yourself how you cook. Now, let me give you his story on how he now went. Let me give you the story. He used to the job he had took him to very fancy restaurants, like restaurants that, one meal could cost for one person is like $200, right? Because he was meeting with high-end clients and stuff like that through his job. Now, he was going to these meals, his company was paying for that, or whoever was hosting it was paying for that, right? So, hang on. Get my camera, there you go. His company, but he liked the meals. So he said, man, I'm going to learn how to make all of these things so that I don't have to spend $200 to eat this same meal. Now, we have gone over to his house several times and eaten, homemade pasta from scratch, homemade Chicago style pizza, the thick ones. And he made a chocolate cake. Yo, I have had chocolate cake, but this right here, this chocolate cake, by far outbeat any cake that I've ever had in my life. Right? So he knew he could cook. Because why? He invested the time in learning how to do it. So he started to ration. I said, okay, just make some videos. He said, but one of the things he came up with us. One of the things I want to do the videos, I want to put my life out there like that. People seeing me. I said, there's people who make videos and they just show their hand cutting up food. They don't show themselves. Then I told them about me when I first started making videos. I didn't show my face. Only reason why I showed my face on my videos was because someone suggested that I wasn't real, like I was fake. Like I was some made up suit in some, what do you call how you do a pen name, like I just was somebody not real. So I said, well, let me show my face. Maybe that it's time for me to do that. So, and I told him, I said, yeah, there's a lot of good videos that I watch. I don't even see the person's face. All I see them cutting up the food, putting it together, cooking it, and boom. People are watching that. It's something very satisfying about watching someone prepare a meal. So I said, just do that. He said, yeah, okay. Then he said, I'm going to make the videos. See, what happens when you talk and you get out your issues? That's you talking to God. That's what you call confessing your sins. Coming to the altar. That's you. The altar is not coming to some building out there to confess to some guy who's got problems himself. No, coming to the altar, coming to confession is you talking out and getting out. And I just happened to be the ear on the other end. And the Spirit shut my mouth and said, don't say nothing. Just let him talk. See, me, and he said something to me that, I was aware of it, but I was even more aware. He said, listen, man, you've been doing this stuff for a long time. So you're in a place where you can see instantly what can be done and how you can make money. And he's right. I can see power in everybody. Why? Because I'm in a position of power in my life. And then I know that I'm not the only one who has this same power, and I know people can do it. But what happens is there's a wall, there's a divide, because that person is not on this side of the storm. See, when Christ was walking on water, he was on another side of the storm. Christ experienced the same storm as his apostles did, as Peter did, when it was what he, and Christ walked on water, right? The same water. But what was the difference? the mindset, the knowing. See, Christ knew he could walk on water. Christ knew that that storm means nothing. It's just making noise. It's just what happens. It has no power over him. He has the power to calm storms. And for the sake of this conversation, the storm represents the chaos that you're experiencing in your life right now. The storm is there. So what? The problem is there. You having problems with your wife, whatever, it's there. They're doing whatever, causing. And guess what? The only reason why it's a problem is because you have your attention on it and you're calling it a problem. Yeah, that's why it's a problem. Hold on a second. Hold on. I gotta get some more juice. Gotta get some juice. I gotta make this one strong. I had a little bit in there, but it wasn't strong enough. There we go. Yeah, just right. I don't know why I gotta do something about my camera thing. Whenever I try to go in, it does just nonsense. Blurring out the camera, trying to cause distraction. All right. Let's see what we can do here. Stop my camera. I don't know why it goes in and out of focus. Sometimes it's good. Well, let the ancestors take care of that one. The only reason why you have storms and issues, maybe with money, with people, is because you focused on it. And you're looking at it and you're saying, that's a problem. See, Christ saw the storm. Yeah, okay, it's a storm. It happens around the planet. I'm good. I'm still walking on this water. Peter, on the other hand, he was able to do it for a little bit, but he couldn't maintain it because he hadn't trained himself to realize that it's only a storm, it's only water, and I have dominion over the waters. Now, let me explain something. Waters represent people having power or having elevated consciousness than most of the people. So when Christ is walking on water, he's showing that his consciousness is higher than the rest of the world. That's what waters represent. That's the symbolic meaning of water. So that whole scripture is trying to teach you that you must elevate above the rest of the world and their conscious thinking. Because what is most conscious people today thinking about? What are they thinking about? They're thinking about entertainment, the next thing they can have fun with. They're not thinking about changing themselves. They're looking at other people and trying to be like them. That's why you have all these people trying to fight to get people to accept them for something that they decided to do and get mad when you don't do it. Because they're operating in a consciousness that's so low that they can't see. Call yourself whatever. You don't need my validation to make it right. You don't need a law to be right about it. Hang on here. You don't need that. If you know your power and who you are, then okay, then whatever you decide to call yourself or be, that's it. You don't need me or anyone else to validate it. So anyone that tries to fight to get people to accept them, they don't accept themselves. Because the average person, most people who's cool with whatever, they don't spend that much time doing that. But let me go back in on what my homeboy. So he kind of figured out that he could do it. See, the only thing he's got to do is stop giving himself excuses. Stop giving himself that, oh, I got to take care of my family, blah, blah, blah. I know his wife about as long as I know him. And she supports him going out and doing that. She's that type of woman. She supports him. And go do it. You can do it. Now, one thing, when I went to the Myron Golden event, he said one thing. And I'll probably suggest him, I just have to tell him, borrow some of my belief in you. And sometimes you got to tell people, hey, you borrow some of my belief until you believe. You get to the point where you believe in yourself. Just borrow and trust that I believe that you can do. And anybody listen, just borrow my belief in you. Because I know everyone listening to my voice can do it. They can quit that job and supplement their income by using their own God power to create a business. I know that. We started the trucking company November. Well, we started our journey into the trucking company September of 2021. Got our authority in November of 2021. And we allowed other people to dictate to us how we should run our business. Right? Now, we hired dispatchers. And because and I'm going to tell you just from my personal reasons, I didn't do dispatching because it was new and I didn't feel like I knew what I was doing. I didn't do it. So I kept defaulting, let's find us a dispatcher. Let's do this. Putting off my responsibilities to someone else to make money for my company. And then in June of this year, I had enough. Now, something happened significant to make me shift to this move. You know, I just had enough putting too much money into the business and not being able to meet the bills every month. And I was like, listen, I'm not taking another dime out of my other business into this anymore. I made that commitment. I said, if this business can't sustain itself, then that's it. That's basically what I said to myself. And so I was committed to pushing the business into paying its own bills. That's right. And even then I was limiting myself. I should be saying, hey, pushing the business to make millions. But anyway, that's another story. So we had one dispatcher. They took off for a week and left us stranded. Then we got another dispatcher, and the dude for like 2 weeks wasn't getting any loads. And I was like, hey. And he kept giving us excuses. Oh, it's this. You don't have this. You haven't had an inspection by the DOT. And I'm like, inspections is when they randomly pull you over and they make sure you're in compliance. We never had one of those. They never pulled us over, right? But so we went out and tried to get them 3 times, and on the 3rd try, they finally gave us an inspection. But through all of that, all of these excuses they were giving me about lows and why we need to do this and that, and this is the reason, this and that, I decided to take a leap and just do the dispatching myself. So the first load I got was a contract with Home Depot. Just wanted some stuff delivered locally. We took that and paid pretty decent. Then right after that, I got them a load heading out to like Buffalo, New York somewhere. Then after that, I got some more loads. Then, all these new things came at me. But it was pretty much self-explanatory. Hang on. All right. Trying to get this camera to go focus right. Oh, why? Started doing it. Never had that problem before. But I'm saying this to say this. Once I stopped allowing myself to have an excuse, well, I don't know what to do here, I just did it and realized it's very simple. Dispatching a truck out is very simple, the logistics of it. Now, one thing you have to be paying attention to, okay, where they're going and where you want them to go next. Try to get them a load going. Like, for instance, this week, they picked up in Mooresville, North Carolina. My one son picked up in North Carolina. He went out to Columbus, Ohio. He got there this morning. Well, he got there last night. And he picked up a load. And now he's headed back to the house because he's got a load that's paying pretty good. But he don't have to deliver that load until I think Thursday. Right? And it's paying really good for us to hold the load. So I don't want to hold the load. But if it's paying good enough, we'll hold it. Then other son got a load last weekend, went to Houston, Texas. And then we got a load coming out of Dallas to go to Columbia, South Carolina. So he go there to pick up that load, and that fell through. The customer didn't want the golf cart that he had ordered, so they shut that down. So he stayed in Dallas. Shouts out to Al. He allowed my son to stay at his house. That's why it's good to know people, and be good to people, because people will be good to you. Shouts out to Al. Shouts out to Glenda. I met all of the people that my cousin, two of my cousins, one in New York, one in Richmond, Virginia, helped save money for a hotel. Because I've talked to Al yesterday. He said, hey man, your son's here. Hey, let him come stay here, so you don't have to pay for the hotel. That's why it's good to make connections, because people, and be good to people, because they'll be good to you. So my son stayed at Al's house, and guess what? I'm kind of rambling, but he got with Al. Al got to talking with him about this government auction site where you could buy land. So he just purchased. My son just got on the website, bid on 40 acres of land in Arkansas, and won it. He was happy. Like, I got this, and I got this silver. I got this. You see what happens when you put people in connections? Sometimes I can't get him to do it, but somebody else will get him to do it. That's how it happens. But I'm telling you this because it was a level of fear that kept me from doing the dispatching, of making mistakes. Now I teach this stuff, hey, you got to make mistakes, blah, blah, blah. But here, I didn't want to do it with my own trucking business. But I did it and then realized it's easy. So let me give you the numbers. The two dispatchers, I didn't even count the second one because he did nothing. But the dispatcher that we had that was producing something, from June 9th to the end of the month, I did 3 times the amount of revenue than that dispatcher did. Well, let's put it like this. The amount of revenue I put from June 9th into the end of the month that I made up for 3 months of what they did. Why? Because people don't care about your company or your business. They just care about how much they can make. And if you're working with someone that's just looking to make enough, that's what they're going to give you, just enough. See, I'm not looking to just make enough. I'm looking to turn this into a multi-million-dollar business. That's what it's going to be. So now I am involved in the dispatching heavily. Now I'm going to turn it over. Beth has been learning how to do it and turn it over to her. Let her handle it once she gets comfortable with doing it. You see? But in order for me to see and be able to run a company effectively, I have to be able to know every thing about it in order to be effective at training and leading other people. I have to be able to do it. I have to know how to do it. And that's what I learned. I was looking at the storm of, I don't want to make the mistake. I don't know what to say to these guys. And then when I got on the phone, it was quite natural. It was quite easy. And now, guess what? They call us. Last 4 or 5 loads, they called it. Hey, you got that truck available? You have this, you have that. Yeah, we got it. We ready. All of the loads that they have right now, someone called and gave it to us. Why is that happening now? Because I put the energy into, invested the time into it myself, and put certain things in place where they call us now. And people said that, yeah, they'll call you eventually. And I was like, yeah, really? Now I know. Every load that they're holding right now, someone called me. Like the one that fell bust yesterday, the guy called me, hey, man, I know we busted up on that load yesterday, but I got another load. And he gave me a list of loads and said, which one do you want? I wanted 2 of them, but because they're golf carts and the size of it just wouldn't fit. So my son right now holding 2 loads. He's doing partials, so he's holding 2 different loads that someone called and gave them to us. I didn't have to look for them. And that's what I want. I want people to call us, hey, we got this load. What you want? What do you want us to pay you? Like one of these loads is paying almost $1,000, and it's just 500-pound little box. Little thing. But that's what it is. And he almost had these 2 medical carts, but for some reason their company and it didn't work out. But what I'm saying is, just like my homeboy, it's a mindset. He doesn't believe that he can really make a lot of money because his mind is programmed in making a lot of money working for people. This is why I said, in order to really have freedom, to really have that life you want, you cannot have a job. You cannot work for people. You're not going to be satisfied with that. Now, he makes good money. He lives a very good life. But even with all of that, he told me he's not happy. He is not happy. That says something. That says something. Nice home, good family. And the only reason why he's not happy because, and he actually said it. See, his God self started talking to him. He's like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to just do this for the rest of my life? I feel like I don't have a purpose. Oh, you got a purpose, brother. The reason why you can't see the purpose is clouded by that job. It's clouded by you fulfilling somebody else's dream. So you're not going to see your true purpose, who you are, the power that you have, until you're chasing after, or until you're looking after yourself. You start to see yourself. Who am I? What am I here to do? All of us get that call, but we ignore the call because we let societal norms tell us what to do. We put that off and make societal normality a priority over our spirituality. That's what it means by putting God first in your life. See, if you put God first in your life, then all of that other stuff is just, this is something I do. This is who I am. See, that vision will come. I keep talking about this vision. And if it hasn't come yet, it will come once you start telling the truth. And I think for him, the vision will come because he's starting to tell, he's opening up. Hey, this is it. I'm depressed over this. I got to get up and deal with these people at a job. It'll come. That was the best conversation I believe we've had. Allowing him to open up and say those things. And I know that's something that a lot of people are struggling with. Like, what am I supposed to do? I know there's more to this than that. And the reason why you're feeling that, because you're doing something that ain't even normal. It's abnormal. It's normal as far as what societal norm says it is, but we all know, I know that societal norms are abnormal. They're not true way of being. It's not what you need to make you feel good inside. And I've learned a lot over the last few months about myself. I really had to go into some deep reflections. And when we meet challenges, that's a great time because that really sees who you are. It's not so important about who other people are and what they're doing. It's who you are and what you're going to do. Me and Ahmed had a discussion. He posed that question. He said, it's about what you're going to do. It's not what people are going to do, whatever. You can't control that. It's what you're going to do. How are you going to react? How are you going to position yourself? Too many times you're worried about everything else instead of worrying about the one thing that matters. What am I going to do? How am I going to handle this situation? How am I going to look at this situation? You just say you wanted to make a change. Yeah, you did. And making a change is the reason why it's a challenge, because you're so used to doing things a certain way, going to these uncertainties. See, people want certainties. And I can tell you, in societal normal certainties, working a job is only going to lead to a retirement check that's too small. I was talking to my mom today. And she says, I wanted her to look after my daughter while we go away and take a vacation. And she said, she wanted my daughter to come over there because she got to work. And I was like, what? You working? Huh? No, that's what are you working? Well, I'm doing Uber. Then I said, you know what? I could teach you how to do this dispatching things, and I'll get you a job. So you don't have to get into taking people around and stuff like that. But see, to my mom, that's normal. To me, that's abnormal. She should be enjoying her life at this point where she done raised her children. All of her children are grown, have their own family. And you're still working. See, this is what societal norms will do to you. It'll have you working until the age where you shouldn't be working, where you should be enjoying grandchildren, just enjoying your home. You see? But like anybody else, she gets to choose how she wants her life to go. I want to tell her something different, but until she does what my friend did, the truth will never come to her. That idea, that epiphany will never come to her. That opening. So I don't even invite myself into that. I just listen. Okay, yeah, mother. It really bothered and hurt me to hear that she's working still. But, I even asked her, how much, what do you got to pay? What is it, Because I'll make the money and I'll help her. Well, help them, because it's both my mom and dad. They still together. Thankfully, I've been really, I have so much to be thankful for. I have something that a lot of people don't have. And that is two parents that's still together all my life. And I can tell you in the foreseeable future, that's never going away. There's no breakup coming from them. I could say that. I could put money on that won't happen. And not many people can say that. Somebody said, thanks for the motivation, brother, working to pursue my passion. Yes, work, man. Pursue. But see, the key to going to your passion is the key to really finding yourself is to look into your eyes and start talking to yourself and figure out, like this brother did, hey, I don't like this. I don't like this thing I'm doing. You have to become disturbed by those things. And then raise your vibration, then you won't do them. That's why I say quit your job. Don't quit your job. I know it'll be all right because I did that. I just quit my job. And I just went all into what I was doing. But no real how I was going to pay bills. But the bills seemed to get paid. At that time, I had way more bills than I had now. I had like 3 car payments going. Plus the other bills, daycare bills, because I think Lauren was in daycare at the time. Yeah. I had some stuff going. But I look back, I was able to pay it, but no job. That's how I know it's going to be all right. I have the experience. And he was right. I'm on the other side where I can see the transition. I can see it working out. When I first started the station, I wasn't making a lot of money. Guy I was working with, he was making all the money. I was just trying to build my following. And with his help and working with him, I got a following. And I'm thankful for that forever. There's nothing to complain about there. I know some of y'all come to me and try to talk this and talk that. People, as I matured and got older, people are who they are. And I can't judge people. Because through that, this is why I'm here able to do these shows and encourage people. He helped me open up my platform. So I'm thankful. Let me tell you, once y'all start learning to be grateful and thankful for anything, even the problems that you have, you'll be able to deal with anything and everything. And you'll get more blessings out of that. Not just blessings of material things, you get a blessing of feeling whole, feeling good inside. Just being thankful. Now, let me add this, doesn't mean that you have to be a punk. No. I think it takes greater strength to overlook stuff than it is to attack stuff. Because a lot of the fights that we actually have, they're illusionary fights, and they're just, and when you really look at it, ain't even worth it. A lot of stuff we tend to get over. I know in my life that I got upset about, it was just like, what am I upset about now? My higher self, man, what the hell are you thinking about, man? You got all this prosperity going on. You got a great home, great family, great friends in your life. What's you over here complaining about? Well, I'll tell you what, since you want to complain, let me take some. Let me shrink your bank account again. Let me see. You get real appreciative then, huh? That's what happens. That's what happens when you're not appreciating stuff. And look at your life now. Really look at it. If you having some struggles in some areas, I can guarantee you there's some lack of appreciation on your part for something. I promise you there is some lack of appreciation there. And that's why you're having the problem, because you don't appreciate what you already got. And I can say that truthfully, because I look at it with mine. When I have problems, like, wait, there's something what am I not appreciating? When I'm not being this man. So now I walk down the street, I walk my dog, I'll be like, oh, I'm thankful for this. I have to, sometimes you got to force yourself to say thank you and be thankful until you are actually thankful. You got to force yourself out of that unappreciative mood. Because when you complaining about something, anything that's going on, that is a form of lack of appreciation. It is. When you're looking down on something or someone, that's a form of a lack of appreciation on some level. I'm telling you. But when you wake up and you say, wait a minute, what the hell am I complaining for? I got a good life. My life is like my homeboy's dream. He dreamed to do what I do. And I'm here complaining about something, man. I got no excuse. Well, I could pick up and say, well, I want to do this next week and do it. I want to go to New York next week and hang out at Ahmed's house for his barbecue and enjoy the festivities and see them. You know, I'm gonna tell you something about that get together. What I like, it reminds me of old days when we used to go to the club and do this. They'd be dancing, getting along. You don't see that like in the South. I don't see parties like that. Like everybody be music be playing, people be standing around for the most part. Yeah, there'll be some dancing, but it's like real true camaraderie, real true people who are good people. You know, in the South, it's a little shallow in some places, some cases. There's some really good people. I tell you the truth, I have some really good friends, Southern friends too. It's just a difference. It's a different thing. Southern is more come over and let's eat and just sit there and play, you know, joke around and stuff like that, right? And I have people in the South that I know their kids, you know, from cutting hair, and anytime, hey, come on over, do this, that, and the other. So it's a different type of friendship. I wouldn't say it's a bad thing, it's just a different. But me growing up in New York, that's what I look at, how the things that just reminds me of all of the old house parties we had. And back to being thankful. Let me just say this once again. If there's some problem you're complaining about, there's something you're not appreciating, you're not being thankful for. I know y'all, some of y'all get upset. Why you always put it on me? I'm not putting it on you. I'm putting it on me. Because when I talk to you, I'm talking about me. Me. That's how come I can say, if there's something I'm complaining about, there's something I'm not appreciating, because I'm talking from experience. That's me. That's all. Like I keep telling you, these conversations is me talking to myself. But y'all just happen to be hearing me talk. Talking to the third person, which is me. Because it is all about me. And guess what? It's all about you. You want change in your life, you change. You want to change the world, you change. And guess what? When you change, you'll see how the world changes. You'll see that people are going to do whatever, things you can't control, and you can still be fine. You still have the money you have. You still have the wealth. You still have the family you have. What people are doing ain't really changing that. I'm telling you, when you change yourself, the people around you will change. It's not that they changed so much. It's you change. And guess what? Because you change, you see them differently. You see a change in them. In order to see a change in someone, you must change. No, see, we're doing it backwards. Oh, they got to change for me to be okay. And let me tell you, how did that work out when you did that? When this person seemed to change, you still didn't see it. It still wasn't enough. Know why? Because you didn't change. When you change, everything and everyone changes. That's how you heal the world. That's how you change the world. You change the energy and the vibration that you're on, and guess what? Everything around you elevates. Because do y'all realize that we are not just light beings, we are elevation beings, meaning that we are here to bring up and not tear down. So when you elevate your being, people get attracted to that. Like, wow, who is that? What is that? And they want that, and they'll elevate. And that becomes normal. Guess what? Once that elevation becomes normal, you start elevating again, and then everybody raise up. Yeah. It's already happened on this planet several times where people elevated to such a higher state of consciousness that y'all ready? They raptured. And guess what? They raptured off into such a state of higher consciousness that they're vibrating at such a high level, no one can see them. I'm sorry to mess y'all head up on that one. That's what we call angels and spirit beings. Huh? Some people think about it. Once people have done their job on this physical plane and they pass, they just transfer to an energy that's so high of a vibration that the vibration of this physical being just cannot experience them. And there's only really a few ways that you can make that connection with them. And that is through your death, or you passing of the body and transforming back into your light being body. Or Bible's all over the Bible. There's a reason why certain characters can only communicate with God in the Bible, because their vibrational level, they knew how to tap in and vibrate and raise their consciousness to be able to communicate with God and have a direct connection. See, no one else could hear from God. They saw the evidence of God, but they could hear. So that's why he spoke through people like Moses and Noah and Christ and all the other prophets. So this the way they tap in, and it's in the Bible all over the place. Meditation. But they got all these electronics around us so much that it's very hard to meditate. There's all of these other energies, negative energies are bombarding us. And to really meditate, you have to block it out. The key to an effective meditation, a really effective meditation, I've experienced meditation, but I know I haven't experienced it on that highest level. You need to go out there into the nature where there is no electronics and all of those things around you, where you're connecting to all the energy of the planet. That's the key. That's why they want everybody in these condensed areas of the cities to be all together, because they know you will never raise up your consciousness that way. Because you're so bombarded by all the other negativity, it's just going to be a fight to really meditate. You really have to have some extraordinary powers. Even Christ had to go up by himself in order to meditate properly. My camera finally cleared up. Beth says, wonderful show. Wonderful show. Thanks for the motivation, brother. Working. Yeah, I said that. I don't know what's Mahasamadai. I don't know what that means, but oh, it's 8:26. I gotta get with my boys. I gotta set them up with hotels. They on the road, so let me shut it down. But anyway, there you go. There you have it. Oh, before I go, I gotta tell y'all, we got this seminar is coming up in July 22nd and 23rd. Me and Al Bay will be there. And our topic is going to be 1099, discharge process, and national passport process, organizing a state religious unincorporated association, says the K Business Trust. And that's funny, Business Trust came because I was reading something on trucking and like being a broker, you got to get a bond, or guess what? You have to set up a trust fund and fund it with $75,000. That acts as your bond in the brokerage part of the industry of trucking. I thought that was very interesting. Setting up a trust fund. But that's the seminar. Be there. It's going to be a great one. I'm preparing for it now. To give y'all something special. We like I told you guys about this men's group, but we did this. We have another meeting coming up, I think on the 30th of this month. I'll advertise it. And what we're trying to do is put together an event for January where just men, we put some place we go, and guess what? No cell phones, no electronics, total disconnection. That's it. Like a retreat, get away from the stresses of life. That's what we're doing. That's what we're trying to put together. No electronics, no connection for a few days with the outside world. So tell your families, if you want to be there, that's what it's going to be. So that you can get in touch with your man, the man in you. Some of us have lost that. Like we're going to set up like fishing trips and stuff like that. Like these are some of the ideas we're throwing out. Yeah. That's what we're working on. So when July 3rd, when the next meeting is going to happen, everybody's welcome. Every man is welcome to come and be a part of it. Because what we're trying to do is build a community where people have strengths here and there, and we'll be resourceful to each other and start working together. Y'all know this is how a lot of governments got formed. That's why they don't want y'all doing stuff like that, because they know. But when people get together and realize what they don't need and what they do need, you're like, wait a minute, why am I doing this? See, we got to get back to growing our own food. Get back to building our own homes. Get back to just what makes us a community. We're not a community anymore. You know? I said, thank you for tonight's show. Peace to all. You're welcome. Welcome. So I'll leave y'all with this. Pick a morning routine that's positive. Do that. Do that for yourself. Because that will change the outlook of your day. That will make you happy. That will make you more open, make you more spiritual. Read something that's uplifting. I'm not saying cut out all the TV, because I still watch a little bit of it. But it doesn't dominate my day. It's a small portion. I didn't even look at TV today. Too much going on. Well, with that being said, peace, prosperity, extreme wealth to all. You guys have a wonderful rest of the evening. I'll see y'all tomorrow. And be ready with y'all questions on Thursday, because I'm, whole question and answer thing. All right.